couple weeks ago was February 2nd, Groundhog's Day. 2 weeks ago today, Groundhog's Day. And Taxidermy Phil up there in Pennsylvania gave his official report that there would be an early spring, and that's what it's been here in Alabama. For the next 5 days, we're supposed to have a high of about 70 and a low of about 60. We have not had much cold weather since that prediction. So old Taxidermy Phil got it right for once. Way to go, Phil. Now, Lana says that we can't listen to Taxidermy Phil because he's a Yankee groundhog. And instead we listen to Birmingham Bill. He's a groundhog at the Birmingham Zoo. But I've got this article here that talks about Birmingham Bill. It says he slept through his big day. Birmingham Jill, an upstart possum, says we're in for more winter. That's the word Saturday from the Birmingham Zoo, which switched up its long-standing tradition of having a groundhog at the heart of its Groundhog's Day festivities. Well, duh, of course you're going to have a groundhog at the heart of the Groundhog Day festivities. Zoo personnel said it comes down to animal welfare. We do not force our animals to do anything they do not want to, especially our ambassador animals, said Samuel Baker, who handles public and media relations for the zoo. Groundhogs hibernate, she said, so Bill wasn't always into his starring role. It affects his attitude when we wake him up, she said. He's a little grumpy. Well, excuse me for waking up the sensitive groundhog. Let me tell you something. I have to go to work 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year, and I don't want to get up when that stupid alarm clock goes up, and I'm a little grumpy about having to get up and go to work, but I do it every single day, 5 days a week, 50 weeks out of the year. And here's this groundhog that gets free room and board, that gets free food, that gets taken care of all of its life, and all it has to do is work 5 minutes a year on 1 day out of the year. Well, I'm sorry if he's not into it. If I only had to work 5 minutes a year, I'd probably be a little grumpy just before my 5-minute work shift started too. Get up out of the bed. Here you are, you only have to work 5 minutes a year. And I work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 50 weeks out of the year. Oh, well, we don't want him to be grumpy. He's gonna like being wake up. I don't like being wake up 250 times a year at 5:20 in the morning, but I do it. If Groundhog Bill wants to earn his keep, he can't even work a lousy 5 minutes? That's ridiculous. And what's further ridiculous is that they say here, when the time came, she introduced first-time prognosticator Birmingham Jill, a Virginia possum, a species Lane said is the only marsupial found in North America. And they go on and on about how wonderful this possum is. Let me tell you something about this. First off, it's called Groundhog Day, not Possum Day. And second, I've never heard of a possum having weather forecasting abilities. Only a groundhog can prognosticate the weather. And then also, not only is this a possum, it's a Yankee possum. Lana complains about this Yankee groundhog up in Pennsylvania telling us what our weather is going to be like. They got a Yankee possum now. Somehow we're supposed to believe this bozo over the official groundhog prognosticator Taxidermy Phil? That's ridiculous. And what does she say? 6 more weeks of winter. What has it been? Sunshine. 70 degrees high, 60 degrees low. All next week. Yeah, we'll get some rain. Yeah, it's overcast, but it's not snow. It's not ice. It's not freezing.
That's because Birmingham Bill knew that. And he's like, don't wake me up. It's just going to be spring. Leave me alone.
Yeah, I understand Birmingham Bill's position, but because he stayed in bed and couldn't get his lazy butt up for 5 minutes of work every year, now the entire state has been led astray by this Yankee possum called Birmingham Jill that says we're going to have 6 more weeks of winter when in fact we're going to have 6 weeks of spring, as evidenced by what's happened in the last 2 weeks.
Well, if you think about it, technically, Taxidermy Phil deceived his own Yankees by saying it's going to be spring and it's been snowing up there.
Well, I'm not worried. I don't know about that stuff. I only know what's going on here in Alabama. And I know that the Taxidermy Phil's forecast is good for the entire United States. And in where I am in these here United States, he has been correct. I don't know about the rest of the United States. I don't know about them because I'm not there.
So really, Taxidermy Phil needs to move to the south, and Birmingham Bill needs to move up north.
There you go. Well, first off, I say Birmingham Bill needs to be kicked out of the zoo. I mean, if I don't show up for work, maybe one day it'd be okay, but eventually I'd be fired. I have to show up again 5 days a week, 50 weeks out of the year, 8 hours a day. If my job was only to work 5 minutes a year and I slept through it, I'd be fired because I didn't do my job for a whole year. So Birmingham Bill needs to be fired because he didn't even wake up. He's a lazy bum. He's a lazy groundhog. He doesn't deserve that's a great honor. They write about his work in the paper. Me? They don't write about my work in the paper unless I embezzled something, did something bad. But they write about his work whether he does it or not. Me, they don't care about me. And so he is in the limelight. He's a groundhog in the limelight that people know who he is. People all over Alabama know his name. People don't know me. Just my immediate, family and people at work.
Who are you?
I'm a nobody.
Why are you in my car? Who are you?
I don't know. But this is ridiculous. You need to get rid of Birmingham Bill and forget about this Birmingham Jill because she's a Yankee and she's a possum. That's 2 strikes against her. And what we're going to do is we're going to kidnap Taxidermy Phil and we're going to groundhog nap him because he can't kidnap him. We're going to groundhog nap Taxidermy Phil and bring him down to Birmingham because he gets out. I mean, think of what I don't know what the temperature was, but I guarantee you that up there in Pennsylvania where Taxidermy Phil is, it was a lot colder than it was in Birmingham, Alabama on that morning of February 2nd. I guarantee that. And yet, Taxidermy Phil has the same hibernation habits as old Birmingham Bill does, but yet Taxidermy Phil faithfully gets out of his hole and gives his prognostication every single year for over 100 years. And so we need to groundhog nap. We need to groundhog nap Taxidermy Phil. We're going to bring him down to Birmingham, and we're going to kick out Birmingham Jill because she's a Yankee possum. Forget about her. And we're firing Birmingham Bill because he doesn't work. He's a lazy bum. And we're going to get Taxidermy Phil, and now he is going to become a Dixie groundhog. He's going to be a groundhog of the South. We're going to adopt him as our official groundhog. And then we won't be led astray by some upstart possum called Birmingham Jill. And now we'll have a groundhog that does his job as opposed to that lazy Birmingham Bill. Lazy bum.